Am I on YouTube? Can you see me?
Live. No, it's still counting down on YouTube, at least my end. There we go. Now I see it. I see the darkness that is Lambeau.
From the Live X studios in New York City, CHTV brings you two guys who like to think they know something about football.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Packer Transplants Live. I'm Aaron Nagler, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Corey Behnke, my partner here at Cheesehead TV. I'm coming to you live from our Live X studio in Midtown Manhattan. Corey joins us live from Green Bay, Wisconsin, across the street from Lambeau Field, and we are ready to talk some Packers. What do we have on tap today, Corey?
Today, we head into the bye week secure in the knowledge that the Packers are Super Bowl contenders after a big win over the Los Angeles Rams. But right now, it's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly. We got the good, we got.
Can't hear you, Corey, so I'm assuming everyone can hear me. Aaron Rodgers.
We got the bad, we got.
The special teams.
We got the ugly, we got.
Aaron Donald, what's he got to do to get a flag? I literally cannot hear Corey, so this is going to be a real fun show. Corey, do you want to send smoke signals? I had you before. We had literally right before we went live. Totally had you. Now I got nothing.
Well, I hear us on YouTube.
I see your mouth moving. I can kind of hear the echo of your voice in the control room through the glass. But that's it. That's all I got. Literally all I got.
Well, I can hear you.
So Corey, I don't know. Why don't you tell the fine folks about what's coming up in the show, and maybe someday I'll hear you.
I love how we started the stream. We were talking to each other the entire time before the stream, and then all of a sudden, right when we go live, you can't hear Aaron. Can't hear me. But
I got him. Now I got him. Now I hear him. Whatever you hit.
There we go.
Whatever you hit.
So we did the Nagler. We did the good, the bad, and the ugly. And actually, I watched it on YouTube. We did a good job. So you did a good job. You did a good job. And, it's a funny start here. Here we go. I love it. We already have like 12 pages of chat.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you start a half hour late. So we apologize for that.
I got 2 pages of notes for you people. So I'm glad everybody who waited around. Everyone who waited around, you are in for a special treat. Okay, so welcome. Thanks for being here. And you know what? It's time for the hotness. Nagler. I'm taking over the show. I am the MC of the show. Let's do the hotness. Let's go.
Absolutely. Let's go. That's right.
CHTV.
It's time for the hotness. That is so good. I could just listen to that all night. I love it so much. Obviously, a lot of great throws from Aaron Rodgers, lots of great runs from A.J. Dillon, tons of great receptions, touchdowns, what have you. But there was only one possible play that we could highlight as the hotness this week. Let's roll this. This is obviously the hotness with Rasul Douglas coming in hot on a Matt Stafford throw. Look at this gentleman here, high stepping into the end zone, and then a pretty good Lambeau leap. Not great, but pretty good. I just
Better
wanted
than A.J. Dillon's
I wanted to
one.
highlight this. Look at it. This is a defensive back knowing he has a right to the football. You have a right as a defender. Too many guys worry about, like, oh, I don't want to get the penalty, what have you. No. You have a right to exist in space, and you have a right to the football. And that's what Rasul did there. He had a right to it. He took what was his, and he went to the house. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the hotness. Love it.
It's good stuff.
It is good stuff. Speaking of Rasul Douglas, let's get to the news because he leads off the news with winning
news.
NFC Defensive Player of the Week. I mean, we got Devondre Campbell winning Defensive Player of the Month a couple months ago. Now we got Douglas winning NFC Defensive Player of the Week. All these defenders winning Player of the Week and month. What is this? Green Bay, Wisconsin? What? Speaking of
weird.
Devondre Campbell,
I like it, though.
unfortunately, Devondre Campbell did go on the COVID-19 reserve list yesterday. I guess you could say it's a good thing, the timing. Devondre Campbell going on a COVID list right after they head out for the bye week. So hopefully he doesn't have to miss any game action. I mean, I think he'll probably be, out for much of practice next week, but hopefully back for the Bears game. And hopefully he's feeling all right. I mean, obviously they don't release whether a guy actually has it or not, or if he's just in close contact, etc. I haven't seen any reporting around it, so hopefully he's okay. And then finally, CHTV News, Aaron Rodgers will not have surgery unless he will. I mean, this is so all over the map.
Dear.
It's like we get reports saying, though, he's not going to have surgery. And then it's, we're going to see where things are. And then he goes on McAfee and, Monday we're going to reassess and blah, blah, blah. So for now, Aaron Rodgers will not have surgery. But he might. I don't know. We'll see. Although I did love Aaron Rodgers throwing the coaching staff under the bus for apparently leaking it. I don't know.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that. QB1 blaming the training staff for leaks to the media.
Well, no, he specifically said coaches. There's coaches who blab to the media is what he said.
It seemed to me. So there's a couple things, right, that I took kind of like the whole way he interprets the whole thing that went down with COVID toe is definitely not what most people perceive, which I think is very interesting.
Not
right?
at all. No.
He's like, everybody who knows me knows it's a joke. And it's like, actually, a lot of people didn't. Like, a lot of people. Like, a ton of people. Like, everybody I talked to in Green Bay was like, is he kidding? What's going on? Like, does he not understand that this is a thing? Blah, blah, blah. The second thing is, I wrote down, because I watched a clip today, blaming the training staff. It felt like, and maybe that was just my perception, it felt like he was calling out someone. Because I didn't put Red Batty, but I was trying to remember, like, all the names of the training
Nate
staff.
Weir and stuff like that. But Nate's like one of his best
seemed
buds.
like the
There's
way
no way he's calling out Nate. No way.
I hear you, but it's just seemed like the way that he was saying, like it was a coach overhearing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It felt like, and so I literally
maybe one of the training staff talked to the coach.
Are we
exactly.
Are we going to get a comment from the Packers on who they think leaked the information to the media?
Of course not.
Well, but this is supposed to be how the media works, right? Aaron Rodgers says something, and then everybody's supposed to ask the questions. Right.
Well,
it's like he knows he's
driving
not
the
calling
bus
for an investigation, but he's driving the bus right now. You know what I mean?
He's definitely driving the bus.
I mean, it's funny. Like if you look at that clip, he's almost calling for an investigation on who leaked to the media. By the way.
Well, it's funny too because you remember the article from Michael Silver a couple years ago. I want to say it like 14, 15. Like he had a quote to Mike about how like, it took us a while, but we got all the leakers out of 1265 Lombardi. Like that was he and Ted were in lockstep about that. Like they wanted nothing to do with guys who talked to the media. And, to this day, I'll say that's one of the big reasons that Alonzo never had a shot, because he loved to talk to the media. Probably still does. But, they were, really dead set on getting anybody who had loose lips out of 1265 Lombardi, whether it's a coach, personnel, whoever. So, yeah, I'm not surprised. That makes sense, though, that a trainer or somebody would have said something to somebody on the coaching staff, and then somebody on the coaching staff talked to whoever in the media. I mean, there's tons of people who know, there's tons of relationships.
Well, and he did say it was probably like an off the, you think somebody's your friend.
Exactly.
You think you're just
like
saying something off the cuff, off the record.
I don't think it was nefarious, and I don't think he thinks it was nefarious.
No.
I just think he thinks somebody can't keep their mouth shut. But, it's a fucking toe. We're going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, let's talk about the offense, and let's talk about a guy, speaking of playing on a bum wheel with a busted toe, this guy played the best game of his season. And I know he's put up numbers, and he's thrown all sorts of touchdowns and what have you, and he's looked good, and he's looked down, and he's looked up, and whatever. But I'm telling you, this Rams game, especially if you go back and watch it, holy cow. I mean, you talk about a master at work in the sense of not only clearly early on, you got to get the ball out of his hands quickly because he knows how formidable that front is. But, man, just even on third and longs, when he knows those guys up front aren't going to hold up, he knows they're not going to stave off Aaron Donald, Von Miller, what have you. Like, they do a good job for the most part. But there are plenty of instances where that pocket collapses. He can't even step up or into throws, and he gets the ball out, whether it's a throwaway or whether it's he had a couple which were absolute darts, but he absolutely showed everybody, I'm still Aaron fucking Rodgers in that game. And it's not getting outside the pocket. It's not the stuff on the edge, right, that we all got used to when he was younger in 2016, what have you. But God damn, that was a good game at the quarterback position, which was absolutely the difference. I mean, you look at those two teams. I mean, what's the big difference? The freaking quarterback. Like Matt Stafford putting the ball in jeopardy a couple of times, putting it on the ground once, throwing it to the other team the other time. Aaron Rodgers, anytime something wasn't there or, anytime he felt it was gone. The ball was out of his hands and only his guy was going to get it or the sideline was going to get it. Like, that was an absolute masterclass from Aaron Rodgers on Sunday afternoon.
I think it's interesting that, I was looking at some of the offensive stats mid-season, and I'm trying to get more trajectory because I feel like I have this idea in my head, and you kind of see it in the numbers where, we're middling, right? And passing, rushing, everything as far as the offense goes, and then you see green shoots places. And early on in the season, you saw green shoots in the 20-plus passing attempts at 20-plus. We are number 2 in 40-plus, which is pretty cool.
Suddenly,
and that's a testament to Aaron
these last
Rodgers,
6
right?
quarters from Rodgers, no doubt.
Yeah. But what's funny is we've always been pretty high in the 40-plus and 20-plus, which, I know in watch parties your thing is, okay, why are we bombing it? Why are we bombing it? It's like you got to have a lot of attempts in order to get those numbers up. But the other thing is there is some movement in the improvement on, we're 10th and 11th, we're 10th in passing attempts, 11th in completions, 18th in getting sacked, which fundamentally is not a good place to be if you're the Green Bay Packers. So I wonder if, he's finally had he talked about it in the Pat McAfee show yesterday. And he talked about, it was when he was talking about his relationship with Devontae and talking about Devontae making some of the moves that he made. And then he talked about winning football plays. And the play that he mentions is actually, I remember it distinctly when we were watching in Watch Party. It's one of my favorite plays. It's a classic dink and dunk. Hey, early on, I'm going to take AJ in the flat. It looks like a simple play. They need 6 yards. They get 7 or 8.
I love
They get a first down. They move the chains. And it's a great classic example. It's actually a West Coast offense type play, right? Whatever the hell you want to call it. And it's one of those where he's making a decision early on about who he's going to give the ball to, and he calls it the first down fundamentals, or he calls it a winning football play, and I get down to like first down and fundamentals. Like, I wonder if his self scout, he's starting to see where the deficiencies are, and he's starting to adjust to those deficiencies by
had that
improving
same
his
kind
own
of
fundamentals.
thought, especially coming off the Seattle game, early in the Seattle game, where it was really frustrating, right? And it was very apparent that, just to stay on the field as an offense, right? But that play to AJ is a perfect example, and I was so glad he highlighted it, because it is a dump off, essentially, and you don't think much of it, but
it's an early dump, right? It's a
early,
choice, right?
And it gets you going, and you move the chains and stay on the field, extend drives, and that allows you more plays, more chance to get into a rhythm, efficiency offensively, like all of it plays into each other. That's what I mean. Like, man, if this guy is hitting his stride right now here on the back end of the season, good luck, NFL. Good luck, because this guy and this offense has been, fits and starts. It's looked good at times, and it's looked rough at other times, and it hasn't been nearly as efficient as it was last year. But if it starts being efficient the way it was in 2020, good luck, because holy Toledo, they got oodles of talent. They got a quarterback who's playing at an insanely high level, coming off this game anyway. I mean, very promising. You're talking about green shoots. These are some major roots taking place.
Well, and I think the two bigger roots are, the fact that he does trust guys more, right? He trusts AJ to be able to make those kind of plays where before he might think, hey, I'm going to get 3 yards out of that. What am I doing? So his brain formula is not working right. The thing I do want to say in offensive stats that is kind of interesting is, as middling as the Packers have been on offense, and they are middling, right? They are hovering between 14th and 18th, right? And they've just kind of been living in this place that's just not a good place for them to live as an offense. And thank goodness the defense has been so good this year. But two places where Aaron Rodgers, to your point about his mastery as a quarterback, we are 6th in touchdowns, tied for 6th, and 3rd lowest in interceptions. And that right there, that stat, that
life,
3rd
baby.
lowest in interception stats, that is an Aaron Rodgers QB1 stat for the ages, and that is what is keeping us alive those 3 or 4 extra games. Him not turning over in our defense.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing. And then giving the defense, there's so many hidden things, right? Like, if you talk about Aaron Rodgers not turning the ball over, obviously that's how they've won for a very long time in Green Bay, because the ball is life. You don't give it away. You don't give the opponent opportunities. But also kind of coupled into that, and I thought of that during the game, during watch party, having a punter who can actually get pinned opponents inside, and a special teams unit that did do good work in this regard. Give opposing offenses long fields. Like, you're going to mess up more often than not, or your defense is more often than not, hopefully, if it is playing at a high level, going to get off the field on a 3rd down before they get into scoring position. Like, how many times do we have J.K. Scott with a 20-yard shank to put the defense out there at their own 40, or God forbid our 40, and one first down and they're in scoring position. So all of a sudden you have a punter who can actually flip the field, and does more often than not. That is such a boon when you couple it with a quarterback who never turns the ball over. I mean, you talk about winning football. Talk about complimentary football. Packers are starting to cook with gas. Starting to cook with some gas. Let's talk about the offensive line, and particularly one gentleman named Josh Nijman, I believe, is what I've heard it's supposed to be. I don't know. I've heard 3 different pronunciations. I got to talk to Josh next time I'm in town to get the correct how it is said. But he might be a robot. AJ brought this up last night on Carry the G. I mean, you talk about a guy who is just technically sound, maybe not the most athletically gifted, but very quiet, goes about his business, and just does it right. He might be a robot, and I think you don't need any more evidence than the touchdown celebration he had with AJ after AJ's touchdown reception. Let's roll this here. This is phenomenal. And if you haven't heard the story behind this, please go watch Carry the G, because AJ told us how they came up with this. And
one take, baby, one take.
One take at the end of walkthroughs on Saturday. I absolutely love it. And I love that Aaron Jones was part of it, too.
100%. I will say, as a broadcast field producer who has had his share of New Year's Eve in Times Square trying to make moments like that happen for national television,
right?
Those are hard to do.
Yep.
They're very hard to do. You would be surprised. It's not as easy as I'm going to do the touchdown dance, right? It all has to work out. Like Aaron, you had brought up like the fireworks in the background right in the beginning of the shot, and then hitting them on the side, and the fact that the cameraman's in the right position. I mean, it's all got to work right. And now that's a little piece of broadcast gold, which I love.
I absolutely love it. It's phenomenal. And the fact that they just kind of did it on a lark at the end of walkthrough and then it came to fruition is just awesome.
Now it's a thing. Now
it is a total thing. And now we expect it. Now I want it. I want more of it.
Yeah. It's like, okay, give me the robot.
Speaking of wanting more, I want more Equanimeous St. Brown. This guy is rising to the challenge. This guy was cut coming out of camp, and now he is producing. I mean, he's not huge numbers or anything like that. We know that. But, man, I think he could be a legitimate weapon down the stretch. The way Aaron Rodgers keeps bringing him up unprompted for how well he's playing. Not only, clearly, we all know, especially, if you are a guy who was on the practice squad, which EQ was, your contribution, your way onto the field is through special teams. And EQ is killing it as a gunner. And so now he's getting more opportunities. A couple weeks ago in Minnesota, this past week against the Rams, he had a key third down conversion where, Aaron Rodgers and trust, we all know what that means. He goes to EQ in a big spot on third down to convert and move the sticks. I'm telling you, man, and the explosiveness that he kind of exhibited in Minnesota, I'm about that life, man. And he puts his nose in there in the run game. This kid's bringing it. And I'm excited to see if he gets some more opportunities. And I'm very interested to see if maybe, just maybe, and I'm not predicting this, but just maybe, he starts taking some of Lazard's snaps. I'm very interested to see if that happens. I know they love Lazard, and I know they're not going to give up on him, quote unquote. But EQ looks a little bit more sudden and a little bit more explosive, and he's doing the dirty work. So I think he's earning himself some more time on the field.
We've been waiting for it. So,
Of course, right.
Round 6, pick 207 in the 2018 draft, and here we are in 2021, hoping that he can take us this second half of the season. I love it. I'd love to see it.
I'll absolutely take it.
What do they say? They say wide receivers. 3 years.
3 years traditionally, although modern NFL that's kind
modern
of changed.
NFL. That's thrown out the window.
Yeah, I mean, now if you're not scoring 5 touchdowns,
Jefferson,
your first month and your first 2 years, it's over.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. Let's flip it to the defensive side and the secondary. The aggression from the secondary. It's a bit of a boon and a little bit of an issue. You can tell that we showed the hotness, right? We showed Razul in that pick 6. It's awesome. You love it. And especially in that situation, you can jump stuff. However, you also saw him jump that, route from the double move from OBJ later in the game, as well as the safety. In this case, it was Amos, but you also know you saw Savage do it as well on the earlier touchdown to Jefferson. Their aggression is great, and it is something you want to harness and you want to utilize, and it's great, and you love it. But man, they got to be careful. They got to be careful. The safeties especially. That is something that opposing offensive coordinators are going to see and look at on tape and go, all right, I'm going to do what I can to exploit that. We've seen that, the last couple weeks now.
I hear that, and I'm going to throw some stats at you, Nagler. I know you're not ready for this. I know you're not used
all
to
this. All this research.
This is like a.
Am I on with Andy Herman? What is going on here? All this research.
Except for I don't have shitty food takes. Okay, so. All right.
Fair.
So I hear you on the secondary aggression. I totally hear that. Okay. I'm going to throw 2 things at you. One, we're 8th best against 20-plus yard throws. So what does that tell me? That tells me, but we're 3rd best in the league, 3rd worst against 40-plus yard throws.
Tosses.
With 10. So, yeah, on the long balls, we're not doing so well, but on the mid-range stuff, we're doing a lot better than we usually do.
That is very true. That is very, very true. But that's kind of, the issue. Like, that's what I said coming out of the Minnesota game. You put that on tape, people are going to they're going to keep going at it. They're going to keep going to it until you show you can stop it. And the Packers against the Rams didn't show they could stop it. Teams will keep doing this. Like, it's coming. Get ready, because the Bears are going to do it too. Doesn't matter if it's Andy Dalton or whoever at quarterback.
The funny thing is that, do we get Jair back? That's
the crossing the fingers. But speaking of getting people back,
because I wonder if some of that aggression. Well, I just wonder if some of that aggression came from Jair, right? Like, when you have Jair for this long and you're so used to being able to be aggressive with him and with Savage and with, Amos, like, those guys are, those guys being aggressive are being successful. So they had some success
that's my point.
early this season.
That's what I was saying. Like, they're playing well. Like, I'm not dissing them or hating on them or anything. It's just that aggression that can be used against you sometimes, and that's what they got to guard against. Yeah. But talking about getting guys back, how about Rashawn Gary? Rashawn Gary, welcome back. Welcome back. Wow. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, come on. Rashawn Gary just literally misses a game, and they have to send a lot of pressure because they're missing their stud pass rusher. And he shows up second drive of the fucking game and is like, no, I'll take this football. Like, we've had kind of a slow start. Let's have a big play right here at the beginning of the game and completely flip this game on its head. I love this kid. I love his play. I love how he rushes the passer. I love how he's growing as a technician. I love everything about him. And you'll notice, man, I pray Z comes back at some point this year, just so Rashawn doesn't have to bear the brunt of the double teams. Holy cow. Yeah. And there's no knock on Preston. Kenny, Preston is doing his job, right? But, man, teams are all over Rashawn Gary. Like, as soon as they see him, it's and especially after he got the sack fumble. It's like one of the few times he was soloed up. He got a holding call later in the game when they tried to solo him up. It's like, if you don't double him, you are in trouble. So I love this kid. I love that he's back, wrecking things. I hope the bye week gets that elbow perfect for him, and he just continues to terrorize quarterbacks because I love watching him play. And then finally on the defensive side, Barnes shows up. And this is kind of interesting how can we get a game where Campbell and Barnes are both awesome? Because it seems like when one is awesome, the other one is just
we had one game.
No, the Kansas City game, Barnes was awesome. Campbell was good, but not great. And then the next week, Campbell was great, and Barnes was a little under the radar. Not under the radar, but less than great. And then now Barnes is great, and Campbell has a not as great game. The game where the two of them, Campbell and Barnes, the only law firm you need to call, when they have a game, a great game at the same time, it is going to be fucking awesome to watch. Like, I'm going to lose my mind because what's great is obviously they're playing winning football. And one picks it up, and the other one's like, okay, I'm trying, but I'm struggling a little bit. The other guy's like, oh, it's all right, man. I got it. This week it was Barnes saying, it's all right, man. I got it. Like, when the two of them hit together, it is going to be fucking awesome. And I cannot wait.
True story.
Cannot wait.
True story. One more little stat I want to give up for
Throw it down, big man. Throw it down.
There's two places where I feel like the defense can improve based on getting guys back and also where we've seen guys play right now. We talk about Barnes. Right. We talk about Devondre Campbell. Hopefully we get him back from COVID reserve after the bye week. But there's two ones, and, it comes down to, sacks and interceptions. And in both places right now, we're sitting right at 10th in the league. And you got to imagine we're going to ascend in those two statistics. And if the defense can get some ascension there, they can actually improve in a major way. And that's kind of crazy to think about when you think about this defense because, it's funny because our secondary is so much better than it actually really gets credit for. Just compared to the rest of the league, which is incredible when you think about Jair being out, right?
Well, that's the crazy part. I saw somebody on Packers Daily this morning on one of my chats. So it was like, they've barely missed Jair, and I was like, okay, slow down. Like, if they had Jair, the entirety of their kind of approach changes. Like, and I know it's like it's not like he solves everything. Like, there's no, I'm not saying that, but like the approach and how they game plan and the things they can do on the back end, as far as sending pressure and disguising things and maybe a few exotics here and there, like everything changes.
Sending him as pressure,
equation changes.
He's one of the best blitzers we have.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, you send him from the star position, put him in the slot, send him after the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, he's a great athlete. He's insanely aggressive. He is not afraid to stick his shoulder in there, which we know that's how he hurt it. But like that, he just changes the entire equation. And I hope we get to see him again this year. That's all I want. And there's been videos of him at practice and all that stuff. So hopefully that's what we get. Obviously, we don't have a game to preview this week, so it's time for Blogosphere. Let's do it, man. Let's go.
This week in the Packer Blogosphere.
That's right. It's this week in the Packer Blogosphere, the return of that venerable series. Corey Behnke, as Packer nerds, we like to consume everything when it comes to the Green Bay Packers, including all of the press conferences, all of the availabilities, and you tend to start to get into a rhythm, right? Like, which reporters are going to ask what kind of questions, how the subjects, whether it's Aaron Rodgers or Matt LaFleur or whoever, how they're going to respond for the most part. Like, it's kind of a kabuki dance that we all know. Like, sometimes the topics will change, but we all know how the ebbs and flows are going to go. The rhythm, if you will. Well, our good friends over at Underage Packers, Joey specifically, has absolutely captured this and freaking nailed it, as usual. We're obviously not going to play the entirety of the video. I highly recommend everyone check out their YouTube channel. It is phenomenal. This video is freaking hilarious. But these are just two instances in this video. This is the press asking Aaron Rodgers questions, Joey's version of it, and I absolutely died at the second one here. But let's roll it.
Next up, we have Ryan Wood. Hi, Aaron. You seem kind of exhausted. Have you had a Gatorade or water at all today?
Yeah, Ryan, I've been hydrated. Some guys on this team chose not to be hydrated after practice today, but that's their personal decision, and I respect that. But I personally have decided to be hydrated today.
All right, we'll take one more. Let's go to Tom Silverstein. Hey, Aaron, I know you just came off a game where you scored 40 points on offense, but could you tell me, I just want to know about the one negative play you had on offense, that one singular play. Can you tell me about it more?
Yeah, Spoon. I think I know what play you're talking about. On that one late in the third quarter, kind of had MVS right on that inside route. And I had Jonesy in the backfield as my check down, but really kind of just made a wrong read, tried to maybe force it to Tay a little bit, and ended up going in the other team's way.
When the first time I watched it, I mean, if that doesn't capture Spoon perfectly. And I love Tom.
Yeah.
Tom,
Can you
shout
tell
out
me that
Tom
one
Silverstein.
negative play?
But like,
So
if there, you could win 400 to nothing, and Tom would be like, "Well, on that second down when the left guard slipped and you seemed to have pressure, you gave up pressure real quickly. What happened there?" Like, Tom is always going to find the nit to be picked. Oh, that is just great. But I highly recommend seeing the whole video. He goes after Demovsky. He goes after me. Like, he gets everybody. I retweeted it out and I said, nobody is safe. No one's safe.
Does he
from
does
Joey.
he go, "It's not my fault"?
No,
does he do that?
No, he does not. He
That's
he
what I
does
would
have
do
a
if I was
question
making fun
about.
of you.
He has me asking about the run game, which is what a shock, right?
Wow, really?
I know, exactly. Amazing.
You got to ask questions, and you asked, Coach, you got to ask the version of all season, this is Nagler, how many different ways can I ask about how and why the Packers are not running the ball more and why they're not utilizing their rushing offense?
I asked about the empty formations. That wasn't specifically
That's
run
reverse.
the ball more.
That's an indirect way of saying
that is kind of
indirect.
It's kind of
Oh, yeah, Coach. I see you running a lot of empty. That's interesting. Why is that? What's the opposite of empty, Coach? What if you were just like, hey, Coach?
What's the opposite
of empty?
That'd be great. That'd be great. Power football? Power? You want to run some power?
It'd be good.
Maybe?
He'd probably turn it into like an existential question.
Yes, exactly.
Well, Aaron.
Hey, speaking of Coach, speaking of Matt
fullness in your life.
Speaking of Matt LaFleur, you came up with a new Cheesehead TV cocktail not too long ago, and you showed the world how to make it in the latest Cheesehead TV cocktail video put together by our own Tyler Herrick. Let's take a look at this.
Tyler.
What are you drinking there?
What are you drinking there, Behnke?
What you drinking there? What you drinking there? I love that.
I love how.
Nah, you know what's great about my favorite part about that is the glass. That glass is so great.
So good.
It's
What's
got
funny
Lombardi, it's got curly Lambo.
When I tweeted it out,
like
3 of the responses were, "Where can I get that glass?"
You can't get that glass.
I
It's
know,
a really hard
I know.
glass to get. It's so fun. The funnest part about making the cocktails is going up into my glass displays and being like, what
Which
interesting
one?
glass can I wear? And I just thought it was an appropriate glass for the La Floridora because, Coach, I was saying this I said this on Matt's show last night. Every time you see Coach's winning records right now, he's literally compared to 3 dudes in a fedora. It's great.
It's so true. Hey, do we want to take some chats? I don't think it was.
Yeah. And by the way, we're coming out. Tyler has to get some editing done, but the next cocktail video, I know everyone is like
waiting with bated breath
when it takes 2 months between cocktail videos. We're gonna release the official Cheesehead TV Bloody Mary recipe. It is about 13 ingredients, and we're not even playing around. There's only one thing, the spice mix. Somebody was like, well, you can't give everything away, and I was like, well, I did make the spice mix, so I don't reveal what's in the spice mix, but other than that, you get everything, and if you make it, it'll be just like
it'll be dope,
just like we make it here. It's gonna be nice. Let me see where we go. All right, so we got Luke Carnes first up.
Luke,
thanks
what's
to the
up,
super
Luke?
chat. So bummed I can't fly out for the Patreon meetup. Please use this cash for a couple beers on me. Hope to hang in person soon. Cheers. Thanks, Luke. Adrian, Goody seems to have an abnormally good record in the draft and free agency. Is his scouting operation way above the rest of the league? And if so, why?
I wouldn't say it's way above. I think it's top tier, though. I think he's done a really good job. Remember when Elliott and Alonso and those guys left, the media was very hyped up on what is he going to do for his top lieutenants, etc. And I think he's done a really good job of bringing guys along. He obviously brought in Milt Hendrickson, who he knew from way back in the day, who was with the Ravens. You look at the Ravens under Ozzie Newsome, they've had a very good track record, and I think Milt coming in has helped in that regard. But he's got a lot of talented guys working with him. That's a big part of it.
Then we got, I got to go to my thing. And we got Sean Nelson. I enjoy Rodgers being somewhat forced to throw from the pocket because of the toe. Another example was Chicago week 1 a few years back.
Absolutely. And that was actually the thing I wanted to ask him when we get him back next week is, how's that feel? Is it hearkening back? I was thinking of 2014 when he had that calf injury and they had to go pistol all the time, and he was forced to work from the pocket. I think it's pretty pretty clear.
Sean with the follow-up. Seems to perform better from the pocket is my point. LOL. Forgot to add that. Go Pack Go.
No doubt. No doubt about it.
So we got Robbie Little. Thanks for Super Chat. If my math is right, could the Packers clinch the division with one Vikings loss and a win on SNF?
I believe so. But don't quote me on that. I'm not sure, but I think so. We'll start getting missives from the NFL soon, playoff scenarios and what have you.
And we got on Facebook, Sandy Robinson Guntharp. Thanks for watching, Sandy. We'll have an offense and a defense. Go Pack Go.
I mean, who would have thunk it,
a lot
right?
of heart emojis. Yeah, 100%. And, I want to – Julie Jordan on Facebook, I don't know her, but she put on here, and, this is going to create a little bit of controversy, but just a point of view from other people. Aaron Rodgers should refrain from comments on COVID. He is misinformed and blindly stated that only 2% of people would know what COVID-toe was before all of this. All doctors, nurses, patients, and relatives and friends of COVID patients would certainly know what COVID-toe is. Great QB, stick with that. Ooh.
I understand that sentiment.
I get it. I bring it up just because, it definitely deserves a point of view among Packer fans. Daniel Gengrich on Facebook. Who would have thought a huge part of this team's identity would be a Joe Barry defense? Love this team.
All I can say is out there
literally
somewhere
no one.
In the I should have pulled this. There is a Joe Barry fan cam in existence at this very moment, and it is phenomenal. Seek it out on Twitter.
What are you talking about?
See, because you don't have children, so you have no idea what I'm talking about. But I have 3 daughters who make fan cams all the time, and there is a Joe Barry fan cam.
What's a fan cam?
You'll find out. I'll send it to you.
No, I don't want to see it. I already don't. Okay. Overshadow Sean, thanks for the super chat. $5 whole. Enjoy the break, gents.
Thank you, Overshadow. Go Pack Go.
Yes, and that's what we have. Appreciate everybody. Awesome. Showing up tonight.
Yes. Speaking of appreciation, A, thanks for sticking around while we were late. But B, thank you, and big shout out to all our Patreon members. Patreon.com/CheeseheadTV. If you want to support Cheesehead TV, everything we do with the brand, it is greatly appreciated. All we ask is $5 a month. It supports the video side, all the content, the website, social, everything we do. And hey, big shout out to Charlene, who has thrown together an awesome event coming up next, not this obviously, but the next Packers game at Lambeau.
Sold out. We'll
be at Lambeau the night before for our Patreon event, which is at capacity. So thank you to everybody who is joining us. It's amazing. There were several areas we could have gotten. When I was talking to Charlene, and she was like, how about this? What about that? And I was like, oh, this one, is more than enough. Well, we have totally filled that as far as capacity. So next year, maybe we'll do something bigger. I cannot thank every Patreon member enough. You guys really mean the world to us. So thank you so much. Corey, you got anything
100%.
else?
We're going to go back to a couple super chats.
Oh, there we go. We got a few more.
And
right,
one we got is from Quinn. Quinn says, first live transplants. You guys do an amazing job. Keep it up.
Thanks, Quinn. You should check it out
Thanks
sometime
for joining us.
when we're not a half hour late. It's amazing.
There you go. Matt Mamba. If you have not checked out Matt Mamba's videos, please do.
Please do.
They are on
Unstable
our Cheesehead
Packers
TV
fan.
YouTube. Unstable Packers fan. Did Corey get to all his notes? I did, Matt. I had a couple more, but I didn't want to nerd out too hard with y'all, so I kept it easy breezy. And I know Nagler can't handle me when I throw some math at him. He's like, wait, who are you right now?
No math, no math. I was told there'd be no math, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it for this episode of Packer Transplants. We'd like to thank everyone who makes Cheesehead TV part of their daily Packers routine. You are why we do what we do. We are and will always be devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide.
What do we like to do? Put the best what out there? Come on, Nagler, help me out. Best 5, all right? Best 5.
That's not my job.